And there is the fourth person who actually I must, he is no more in this world, and his name is Manohar Parrikar. Dr. Manohar Parrikar, the ex-CM of Goa. I remember the day when I got a call that he wants to meet me. I was surprised. Why Goa CM wants to meet me? That was in 2013 or 12. And he called me in a very different place than normally used for meetings. He called me at airport lounge in Mumbai, Andhra Pradesh. So I went and we had a half an hour discussion. So he said, I want you to be the chairman of our expert committee for this proposed plan. Then, to make the long story short, I only said, sir, all my life I have been struggling for decentralized waste management. And you have been asking me to be chairman of a centralized waste management plant. This doesn't, it's as per my principles. Then he, just in one sentence, he won the argument. He said, look, I respect your decentralized waste management idea, but think of Goa. Goa is a population, state population is something like 15 lakhs. And floating population of more than a crore. मैं किस के पीछे भागूं? Decentralized waste करो, decentralized waste management करो. So we need to have a waste management plan which is centralized. So I had no argument on that. So I said yes, and that's how I got associated with this project. But as a scientist, as a science student, I will like to throw a question to you in a form of a Hindi poem which is written by me. क्या बदल सकेंगे हम खुद को? क्या बदल सकेंगे हम खुद को? चांद पे तो पहुंच गए थे कई साल पहले, अब अंतरिक्ष दूर नहीं है. पहुंचेंगे मंगल ग्रह पर या शायद उसके आगे भी. आएगी कल बुलेट ट्रेन देश में हमारे. होगी कई सारी स्मार्ट नगरी हमारे देश में. लेकिन क्या बदल सकेंगे हम घर खुद को? क्या करेंगे कूड़ा मुक्त अपने घर को? घर का कूड़ा म्यूनसिपालिटी की गाड़ी में देके घर तो स्वच्छ होगा मेरे मित्र, लेकिन क्या भारत स्वच्छ होगा? उसी कूड़े से आएगी ना कल के अनाज की बोरी. यही बतला रही है ना पदार्थ के अविनाशित्व की कहानी. कूड़ा बाहर फेंक रहे हैं, डंपिंग यार्ड बढ़ाते जा रहे हैं, धरती माँ को कब से तड़पा रहे हैं. घर का कूड़ा बाहर फेंकने से जहाँ दिन की शुरुआत होती है, वहाँ भारत बदलने की बात हो रही है. मेरा भारत महान. दिस इज आवर प्रॉब्लम. When you buy a banana, you don't buy banana, you buy peel also. See, banana fruit is your responsibility, your food. Peel is also your responsibility. We cannot say it's not my responsibility. You have to treat it. And if you do that, you don't need such plants. Because if every house, these are two very bad things which we have developed over a period of time, which were not there in India. One is throwing food. Now today after seminar, you can yourself witness how much food you will be throwing by taking in that dish. Take a oath, we will not throw it. Okay, I am going to observe that in the afternoon. There will be enough food and people will, there will be buffet system. It's not, it has become a habit. So, whenever I do this program for children, I make them take a pledge. I will not waste food in my thali. That's a very simple human value. And that human value is not followed. That's why all the municipal trucks are 20 to 25% fresh cooked food. Just because it was excess, Occasionally it can get spoiled, but just because it was excess, it ends up in the, or some people don't want to eat it, so it just ends up. Look at big hostels, big engineering hostels. I have witnessed 700 kilos waste coming from one hostel. Even in our organization, we could see that so much of rice, so much of idlis are thrown regularly. If you don't want to throw, if you want to throw, just taste it and throw. Taste it and take whatever you need. But people don't do that. Anyway, so that's the point about the food waste. And if that is not stopped, all these 700 or 250 ton plants are going to smell, because you cannot virtually run a plant because you are getting 150 tons waste from biodegradable or 125 tons biodegradable. At one place, before putting in the digester, there will be some contact time with air, and that is where it will smell, and people will start saying that your plant smells. It's not our plant smells, it is the smell which is coming from your own houses, which is now getting integrated, and it becomes too much. So for any biomethanation plant to succeed, I still believe, having operated this for last 7 years, I still believe for biodegradable waste, you should have a decentralized plant. But for the other waste, like dry waste, he was talking about plastic bag. So what typical problem India has? In Maharashtra, we buy milk in milk packets. So all over the country, everywhere milk is. Now when I open my milk bag, what I do, I cut the corner. Cutting corners is our habit. So we cut this corner also. This corner falls down. Then I take out the milk. I may wash the bag, but hardly 5 to 10% people must be washing. 90% put that bag as it is. So he has a problem of wet waste or dry waste. But if I open it fully without cutting the corner and take out milk and wash it, it becomes a dry waste. What is important is, the bag is not important for me. One corner from your house, like that 1 crore corners every day in Maharashtra environment, and it's very difficult to collect those corners. And 365 days, so 365 crore corners into last 40 years. Just imagine the amount of microplastic it will create, because it's going to further get cut in the environment. So that microplastic will finally end up in the lungs of our children, our grandchildren. Aren't we responsible for it? So this is a kind of problem with understanding of the waste. So this was just an example I wanted to give. You are all, आप सब जानकार है, मैं किसी को सिखाने नहीं आया हूँ यहाँ. But ये जो we take things for granted, that ये होगा नहीं होता है. So we have to concentrate from there, how to collect the waste. And Levinson Martin was very right. We found that when I saw that biomethanation design from German people, I realized that design is not going to work for this plant. We will have to introduce our own things which we have done at BRC. So slowly we have to change that. And the Germans were quite generous enough to accept my suggestions. So few changes were made. Still, I am not happy with the biomethanation which we are doing here. Although we are getting more than 30,000 units per day, I am not worried about the output of it. I always consider the money which you are giving for processing of the waste is actually a GST which we are the GST which we are paying to Mother Earth. So there is no option to that. You will have to do the processing charges. Absolutely no option. अगर आप कहेंगे ये बिना processing fees का काम होगा, बिल्कुल नहीं होगा. Because to process that banana peel which I told you, Mother Earth has to invest something. And that investment is to be paid in terms of money because somebody has to do it. When I say Jyoti Mamsekar, I am here because of her also. Because if the ladies had not operated those plants, and operating those plants is very difficult. You have to, and then in the moment the process, the plant stops, people will start shouting, technology is not working. Actually, technology is never a problem. Problem is, if you have what Davidson said is right, those small sachets of pan parag, of the tomato sauce, if they get mixed, it's very difficult to remove them physically. And once they start accumulating in the digester, then the digester will stop, however good technology it is. And this is what is happening in this digester also. I am sure Ganesh is sitting there. He has to get that digester clean after every 6 months, and the complete digester is full with all kinds of nonsense. So having all the segregation in place, when we see the plant, you will see that it is one of the best managed plants. So all credit to him. It's very well managed plant. But how will do that? By putting his hand, अगर आप घर में 400 ग्राम segregate नहीं कर सकते, how can you expect his people will segregate 250 tons at this place? Just imagine. And that is what we have to percolate into the society. We have to talk to people that this segregation at source is the most important solution. There is no other solution for this. Unless you have a segregation at source, and that too in proper manner, then countries like Japan, countries like Sweden, they do it in 51 different types. You don't have to collect it every day. They collect every day only the biodegradable part. And all other parts they collect once in a week, once in 2 weeks. If you are keeping these washed milk bags in a cotton cloth, in a cloth bag, they don't smell. But if you put them directly into the bin, your bin spins horribly like a dumping yard. I always tell my students to have a trip, visit to the, as a picnic to the dumping yard. See what kind of sin you are making to the Mother Earth by just not segregating 400 grams, just saying something as waste. And that's another problem with us. We are saying the word waste, that's not in place correctly. If Shakespeare gets up from his tomb, or I go there whenever I will reach there, I will bound to meet him. I am going to fight with him. Shakespeare, you wrote very good dramas, but one mistake you did. You said, what is there in dumb? What is there in name? See, we called waste as waste, and the whole country has become dumping yard. If we had taught our children, waste is not waste, it is a resource, it is a wealth, probably things would have been different. But having the word waste, so many times I tell municipalities, please change your word from waste to waste resource. That's the first thing what you should do as a waste manager, that you are not a waste manager, you are a waste resource manager. Then people will start thinking what is meant by waste resource. So if that waste resource comes into picture, majority of the problems will be solved. Here there is an example of Ganesh again. They had put that machine or plastic shredder 2 months back or 1 month back. Yeah, during Dasra. Now, for the bottles which are sold at 10 rupees kilo, they are now getting 80 rupees, 70 rupees by shredding it. Shredding it and bringing it in the same material which the company wants. So, you have to invest that 55 lakhs. And Goa has so much of bottles, both types of bottles, but I am talking of the plastic bottles. So those bottles, they can recover the money in 2 months. So wherever you have got such a conglomeration, so I will suggest to all those people who are sitting in this hall, who represent the various states in the country, think about a plant, think about a decentralized waste management for biodegradable waste and centralized waste management for the plastic, and because every individual cannot put a shredding machine of 55 lakh rupees. But if you give the segregated waste material in various different forms like Japan does, 51 types, or Sweden does, then you can ask people to collect one day plastic, one day cloths, one day this. So those which are not creating problem, electronic waste. Rare earths is going to be a very big problem. The rare earths, the rare earth elements which are there, solar panels में rare earth elements लगते हैं. There are various places where now your electric vehicles, it is going to need lithium. For every electronic vehicle, you need about 25 kg of lithium in the form of lithium batteries. So where is that going to come back? You have to recycle that. So unless you collect it separately, you are not going to get that back. And after 5 years or 10 years, rare earth will be a real problem. It's a real problem. It won't be any more rare problem. It will be a very common problem for everyone. कहाँ से लाएंगे? Okay, so you have to think about all this. That what is best solution for this? That best solution for this is that you have a centralized material recovery (MRF) and the decentralized way of composting. We are going to demonstrate tomorrow to you a culture which can convert in 24 hours. Many times people say 24 hours, all this is drama and all. Bhagwan has created a machine in the form of your body which can digest the food in 8 hours. So I am just trying to repeat that. If I do this peel and this degradation in 24 hours, but it should be a small scale. It cannot be done on large scale because large scale handling of that will be difficult. So composting at small scale, like your individual household or on the society level, and then wherever bulk generators are there, small biogas plant units will work. See, sometimes when I sit back and recollect, the reason for some of the plants failing is that they put in the middle of the society and a 5-ton plant and bring waste from outside and then process it into that plant. Those people who are sitting in those nearby area will certainly not like their somebody's waste is brought to them and then processed. So again coming back that how it is possible on a government scale. Because for last 25 years I have worked with several municipalities in Maharashtra. I had good experiences, bad experiences. But everything boils down to the same thing, that understanding the waste is a major problem. Now for last 25 years, I grew one plant in a desiccator, in a closed desiccator, without adding water. Everything is a closed system. Now this closed system, if you consider Earth as a closed system, why you should not consider anything as waste? Why waste resource? It's not a whim of a scientist. I will tell you with example that there is a just planet. Bring the planet in front of your eyes. There is a globe, and on this globe, from outside, only sunlight comes. Nothing else comes. So whatever is there in the periodic table, all those elements are there on the Earth. And the quantity of those elements is fixed. When the world was created, that much of carbon, that much of nitrogen, that much of sulfur, that much of phosphorus is there present in the Earth. Nothing additional is there. There is a law which we have learnt, law of conservation of matter. Matter can neither be created nor can be destroyed. It only changes from one form to the other. Now if we know that, then how the peel becomes a waste. So when a banana tree grows, the weight of a banana plant is something like 1 metric ton. And to give you 100 kgs of banana, the nature has to put investment of 1 metric ton. So that 900 kg also is our responsibility, that after the bananas are made, the tree doesn't give any more fruit, so you have to cut it, you have to compost it and give those resources to the soil. If you burn it, it's not going to come into the cycle again for at least for 500 years. At least. If it becomes elemental carbon dioxide or it becomes gaseous material, say P2O5 or SO sulfur dioxide or carbon dioxide, then to bring back in the biological availability, it takes 500 years. It's not that simple. But if you convert it into manure and then process it, and that give the manure to the soil, next year your 1 ton banana plant will be there. So that's the kind of reduction in time we are talking. When we say that RDF is this much, RDF is a big problem, the problem is our mentality. I expect in my waste processing system, there is no RDF at all. In my waste processing system, there is no scope for RDF. I don't want any waste to energy plant because that waste to energy plant is a very sugar-coated term which is actually extremely bitter. There is no plant which is waste to energy, I will tell you that. If you see if you are calling something waste, you are burning it and you expect energy out of it. It is not right. It's absolutely not right. You have to think that what it is correct usage. So RDF, before RDF, I will tell the example of our plant which Ganesh and Sandeep, they are running. When we started, there was plenty of RDF lying in the sheds and there was a deep problem with because cement companies are not nearby. You have to send it across by spending money on transportation and then take it there. But the moment we said, no, we have to now, when biomethanation was set right and it was giving good results, then we concentrated on the material recovery. Initially, what material recovery was 4 to 5%, now the material recovery has reached 24%, 30%. There is 30% material recovery. They are recovering 22 products from that 250 metric tons, or half of that. So 22 products recovery, and then earning money on that, like something like 25 lakhs. I'm really not, I'm a scientist, I don't understand language of money. I only understand the language of recycling. So that recycling, but we have reduced that material from RDF. Now if we increase more number of people and increase more number of components separating out of that, then my material recovery is going to go say 30 to 40, 40 to 50%. And I am telling Asmani sir that in my lifetime, I will like to see it at 100%. So there is no RDF there. So RDF is, right now there has to be some RDF facility, I don't deny that. Right now there has to be some facility where you have to take care of that RDF. But at the same time our aim should be every day RDF should be reduced at least by say 0.1%, 0.02%, very small, but at least every day that progress has to be there. Every day some recovery of the component is possible. And this is the major drawback. This is the major drawback in your collection system. This is the major drawback in your taking that material to the proper material recovery facility, and then segregation. So these three are the main important enemies of this waste resource management as it's happening in today. Today our country, whatever you say, whatever Swachh Bharat our honorary respected Prime Minister is talking about, we are just trying to only collect. Whenever there is a Swachh Bharat mission, a lot of photographs come with a jhadu in hand. Jhadu is not the Swachh Bharat mission. Zero waste is the Swachh Bharat mission. And what is zero waste? The concept of zero waste is waste does not go to the within the premises. If my house is zero waste, no waste goes out of my premises. If the school society is zero waste, no municipality vehicle comes there and picks up the waste. In my dream Bharat, is there is no vehicle carrying the waste as is being carried today. I expect, see, many people ask me, if you start making manure, what will you do with that manure? I will say municipality will collect that manure. Instead of 8 days, every day collecting the biodegradable waste, once in a while you go and send your vehicle and collect the manure and take it to the farmers. Today, as an agricultural scientist, I can tell you, our organic carbon content in Indian soils has reduced to less than 1%, which was once upon a time 2 and 2.5%. Now we are 141 crore people, the productivity is increasing, but at what cost? There is a reduction in the organic carbon content of the soil. And if that organic content keeps on reducing, a stage will come when we won't have that productivity. So if to increase that productivity, and one side you are increasing the dumping yards, and the other side you are not processing it, the material, your soil needs the organic carbon, how to manage this inverse proportion? And this managing inverse proportion is processing that mounting dumping yard, and then bring that. See, what happens is many municipalities, they say it is going to compost anyway, आप पैसा भी छोड़ दो compost होगा, बिल्कुल होगा. I don't deny that, but that is getting mixed with your battery cells, getting mixed with plastic. That compost is going to actually harm the soil rather than help the soil. So if you want to reduce the fertilizers, if you want to reduce the artificial fertilizers, you must support this composting. And I can tell you from my own example, whatever 5 kilograms manure I make at home is an excellent FCO quality manure. Maybe occasionally there will be a problem of some small phosphorus or potassium, but that you can always add. So there is no question. As far as CN ratio is concerned, it is one of the best manures you can generate at your home. And just by simply tomorrow I am going to demonstrate you that manuring procedure also, that you have to actually mix it, pass it through mixer. At the moment you pass it, why your teeth have been given by nature to you? If you had gulped the entire, say, half an apple, एक तो इधर से जाता नहीं था, because इधर ही रुक जाता था. But to make it pass there, and also it helps in the microorganisms and the enzymes which are there in your body, that the small molecules will be digested faster. And that's how that's the natural example given in front of you. So what I do is I pass my all banana peels, these kakadi peels, and do a mixer. I convert them into a kind of pulp, and that I mix with the culture which is there. Tomorrow you will see that. And because of that, it is possible to degrade it into it. And I am not a magician. I know what science is behind that. And if there is, many people have the objection, कभी-कभी उसमें कीड़ा आता है. They are part of the system. And if you add the cooked food, there will be larvae. If you don't add any cooked food, there won't be any larvae. So we don't understand the topic in totality, and we say that we keep on, नहीं उसमें कीड़ा बन गया, उसमें ये बन गया. आपने डाला क्या? आपने जो सिस्टम में जो लिखी दी थी उस हिसाब से किया क्या? नहीं सर, थोड़ा राइस तो गया था. अगर थोड़ा राइस तो थोड़ी लार्वी तो आएगी. And larvae is not as if something has, sky has fallen. It's a part of the system. So just wait for your larvae to stop, cooked food to stop, and suddenly you will realize that there are no more larvae. You get only extremely sweet smelling organic manure in our own house. I have kept that box even today on my dinner table, lunch table. It doesn't smell.